Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where I come to you from Moorebank on the banks of the Parramatta River on this most perfect Sydney winter's day. What I'd love to do today is go through a book, and the book that I've selected for this particular episode is entitled Triggers, a book that was published on the 3rd of March 2015 by an author named Marshall Goldsmith. What I'd love to do is just to go on a walk and talk where we can have a little bit of a chat about this book and share some of the lessons that we can glean from OPE, other people's experiences, and see whether or not we can incorporate some of these learnings, some of these warnings into our inventory of skills, knowledge, and potential power. So this book examines environmental and psychological triggers that influence one's behaviour in ways that are hard to explain and of least expectation. The author draws lessons from his own experience as a renowned executive coach. Goldsmith examines how external triggers such as people, environments, and circumstances can influence our own actions and reactions, often leading to habits and patterns that come in the way of one's success. Through engaging anecdotes and practical advice, the author is able to share key principles that we can use to help identify and manage triggers more effectively. This hopefully can empower readers to take more control of their lives and attain lasting and better change and improvement. Whether you're striving for leadership excellence, seeking to enhance your relationships, or simply aiming for personal fulfillment, this book, Triggers, provides the tools and the strategies you need to thrive in today's fast-paced world. So let's see what we can take and what we can learn. The first key message from this book is to understand that triggers are everywhere. More than we realise, our surroundings and interactions have such great influence on our behaviour, and triggers can be people, situations, or even simple objects that influence profoundly and greatly our moods, our actions, even without our knowledge. That's really important. They can influence us even without our knowledge. The author goes on to talk about the fact that we are not mind readers, and you can't know how others perceive your behaviour by mere assumption. And for that reason, it's important to seek feedback from trusted people, not from everybody, but from trusted people, to learn how your actions and interactions might be triggering them unintentionally. The author here reminds us that we need to focus on progress rather than focusing on perfection. Expecting immediate and complete change is rather unrealistic, and the author here invites us to learn to celebrate small victories as you track your progress in learning to manage your triggers more effectively. The author here talks about how important it is to be able to identify your own red buttons and to be mindful and take note of the specific situations, behaviours, or individuals or character types that tend to trigger negative and or positive reactions and responses from yourself. This awareness, according to the author, of your triggers brings your consciousness to these triggers and is useful for proactively managing and living with them. Another key message that comes from the author is that whilst it's important to seek feedback, you don't have to seek approval. So the message is simple: seek feedback, but don't seek approval. Even when critical, feedback is indeed invaluable in understanding how you impact others in a positive or a negative way, and it helps you identify areas where there's a need for potential improvement and change. When it's all said and done, you need to take responsibility and accountability for your actions, because ultimately we are responsible for our choices and our reactions. Even though triggers influence our behaviour, we must also acknowledge our role and focus on developing strategies to be able to respond more effectively and productively. And the last key message to come from this author is where we are asked and called to action to focus on how and not why. Because focusing on why you behave the way you do can actually be counterproductive. It's better, according to this author, to shift your focus to the how, and this way you can modify your behavior in the direction of your desired outcomes. So once again, thank you for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where we've been through another interesting and potentially powerful book, Triggers by Marshall Goldsmith. I look forward to chatting to you again and spending more time walking and talking and hopefully learning as much as we can and taking these lessons and incorporating them into our skill set. Take care, everybody. Yassas, and bye for now. And we'll chat again very, very soon.